Yes. Chaincaster. Can we all thank them for being one of the major contributions to the, creation of the module system? Without it, oh my god, they would be so fucking horrible to this very day.
Wait, why are we talking about chaincasters?
Well, good question. One, why the hell not? Two, as I mentioned before, it's the most notable branch that makes Hypercrypt realize they fucked up badly. And three, since we already did Chain Medic, why not double down and make a chain reaction, eh?
Man, shut your...
Duh, fuck it. You know what? Just start the content. Why have delayed the time way too long now?
Yeah, let's start the intro. Welcome to Reserve Op Talks, and today we're talking about chaincasters and how badly they fundamentally changed Arknight's balancing once for all. I'm Corrupt. There's Iris. Let's not waste any more time and let's get started.
So,
Minor point I will add up. Chaincasters fundamentally works like a core caster, but also a splash caster as they do AoE damage within their jump doing another target, at best 4 targets.
yeah, but the downside is they deal less damage each bounce. So, like, as we mentioned before about Chain Medic, they deal less every single bounce, and that's not a good thing.
Well, they do have a module to fix that said issue.
Yeah. But if I remember, back then it's also much worse. Like, I think back then it's for like 25%, and I suppose like it should be around there before the buff.
Yeah, there was like a whole rework of the archetype.
Yeah, that and other like Abjurer and Splashcaster also in the category. God, that was a terrible time.
That was a very time for Arknights.
Yeah,
Another thing we will point out, Chaincasters as for the current day has only 4 current members, the most latest one being Astigene, and the only 6-star being Passenger.
Yeah. And so far, after the module, they all work pretty much fine. You can use them the way it should be. As well,
it's clear that Passenger is still reigning the best in the archetype, as he is the 6-star, but he still has some fundamental issues in his kit.
Yeah, he still got that the chain casting.
Yeah, he also his skill 3 has some minor targeting issues. It will target the one I think with the highest health, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think that's like the whole tricks of caster, or taking the slowest one or something. But yeah.
Now we will do a brief explanation through all 4 operators' kits and give you a general idea, and later on show you via the gameplay which one clears the fastest and which one clears the slowest.
At the bottom place, we can already see is pudding's kind of just basically your starter for Chaincaster. She works as a intended for a 4-star. You really can't go wrong using her, but you can't really go right with her. She really needs somebody to keep
help
her
do damage.
Yeah, increased by 10%.
Yeah, that is
a module. At least her module basically removes the bounce compromise.
Yeah, that's definitely a good thing. I mean, her whole skill does rebound at enemies, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think it bounces on 4 enemies by default. Yeah, it bounces around like 4 enemies by default.
But then I think doesn't it rebound? Like it can hit the same enemy like twice.
Yeah, it tends to do that at some point.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's quite gimmicky to use pudding. But you really can't expect from a 4-star. She's pretty okay, honestly.
Yeah, she's solid. I mean, for a 4-star, she does hold her own, but she's not the best 4-stars that is currently in Arknights today.
Yeah, there are a much better one. Hint, hint, click.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's talk about Lizzie. This one,
Oh,
boy,
this one is a
I have.
this one is a weird one, honestly. Even though with all the buffs that she has gotten, she's still really weird as an operator.
The problem with her, kid, is that when I using her, the thing is, you gotta need somebody not to block her, so she can use her skill.
And her
Like,
talent.
yeah, look at her talent, and her talent is basically just increased attack by like 23% when attacking unblocked enemy, which doesn't do much.
I mean, and
And
then,
let's get
then add up the skill. That is a very problematic skill on top. Yeah, it
that.
does. It does like okay, the skill fundamentally removes the archetype's issue, but like it doesn't make up for its high cost, for its barely of a buff, and then it's then not very high uptime. Like 35 seconds of uptime is not good at M3. One,
Like 35 second uptime while also having 50 on initial. But you know what the bad thing is? 80 SP.
okay, we will talk that the fact that her module does remove that fundamental issue, but like then again, it's still 80 SP. It is not
Yeah,
worth it.
yeah, like look at that the footage I have here. Lizzie is basically trying to stall the heck out of Big Bob or Big Adam.
Yeah, with Big
And
Adam.
yeah, and when I just want to make this thing so quick because my file is completely, overloaded, I just, screw it. Just wrap Golden Glow in and
Help
just
it kill
smack him.
faster.
Yeah, just smack him to oblivion by that. This is very infuriating to use Lizzie. Like,
Yeah,
yes, she's basically good when nobody blocks her an enemy,
but then
but the
again,
moment,
just use
yeah,
anyone else. That's the problem with Lizzie.
yeah, yeah, and that's why I feel like I prefer the other operator. And we're
And
talking about,
and I will also admit that she is not a free to play, or she's only by via the gacha, and that is again another problem issue about Lizzie.
yeah, yeah, that's the problem. She's also a gacha unit. That's basically pretty
Unlike
finicky to use.
Pudding here, okay, Pudding can make a way that she is a free operator. She can be bought via the red certs, but Lizzie can't really get away from it.
Yeah, she's really hard to get. Like, I still have her at +0. You can see why it's not that good.
Even though with potential is barely increases her power.
Yeah. All
Um,
right.
and I think we can talk about Asajin now.
Yeah. This one, I.
Asajin, okay, just let me say this. Asajin. She is not even bad to any degree. She's actually really good for a free-to-play unit. That is funny enough. That is not often you hear the word free-to-play unit, and that is actually rather decent.
Yeah. It's so
Um,
much better than life, in my opinion.
no, it is better because she can fundamentally doesn't have a big SP cost. Her skill is actually rather good. It can simultaneously like
Mm.
hold two different lanes in the same time, and that is not very common for many operators to do.
Yeah. And also getting like 20 attack speed, when you wait for a little while. Yeah,
Like
that's
it's
pretty
not gonna
good
make that
too.
much of a difference, but it still helps her general attack speed.
Yeah, but considering like Chaincaster has a pretty bad attack interval, like look at the stats, it's just pretty much shit.
Yeah, like it's
So
like
you
what?
could
Like it's 2.3 seconds, like a 20 ASPD can maybe I think reduce it like to one or something. I don't know how the math works. I can't math.
yeah, you basically get 20% in attack interval or reduction. So you basically get what you get from here. It's
Yeah.
still better than nothing.
Okay, but let us talk about other things outside of her talent. We already talked about talent. Let's go talk about her skill. Her best skill being skill two. Okay, she attacks. She extends her attack range and adds 40% attack at M3, and she attacks two targets simultaneously. So she is basically, if there are two different enemies in two different lanes, she can attack both of them, and both will still bounce on four different enemies. And she does get the damage reduction. She has the damage negation bounce module, so she is fine on that side.
Yeah,
And another thing that when she attacks her, she expands her range. She does act like a core caster, right?
yep, indeed. She does act like one.
On skill, yeah, only really on skill. But then again, her skill is her for a free to play unit. As I said, this is a very good skill, and she gets like she has like 40 SP for her skill. Okay, it's rather expensive, but then again, remember this is a free to play unit, and this is one that beat a gacha unit, so that's like not very often enough that happens.
Yeah, some may argue that Lizzie does more damage because, well, attack plus 150% and no longer deal reduced damage. But, the downtime and the uptime just doesn't scale up,
Yeah, and then again,
and we don't talk
yeah, and then again, we
blocking.
also have to remember that she needs to be not blocked. She needs to be hit enemies unblocked to reach her full damage. Lizzie has
Yeah,
no drawbacks for her damage. Like she doesn't really hit a certain condition.
yeah, well, as Jeannie got a basic attack speed, but at least
It
her downtime
works.
won't.
It works. That's the problem. It works, and this is as I said, a free to play unit, and that fundamentally helps the unit as a whole.
Yeah, if I'm gonna pick like between two, like Lizzie and Ask Genie, I'm probably gonna choose Ask Genie.
Yeah, I think
I
there's
still
not
won't.
much we can really talk about Asajin. I think it's now we really just go talk about Passenger, he's actually the best operator in this archetype, which is funny.
Well, can you really surprise? It's a 6-star.
Yeah, but there's often cases where 6 stars are not better than the 4 star or 5 star variants. I think we're looking at Exia too much.
We can talk about a lot of bad ones
Yeah,
someday.
yeah,
Then
but let us
let's talk
continue. Let us talk about Passenger. Okay, Passenger, as we know, he's another chaincaster. He is the first 6 star chaincaster. He has two talents that we have to go that are notable. Is his when attacking enemies greater than 80% of his health, he will deal more damage he will has increased damage for them for 3 seconds. He will do an increase of 25% damage for enemies above 80% for 3 seconds. Okay, and then his second talent, and this is where his second talent is the important one because he doesn't use the damage loss module for each bounce. He actually uses his module X, if I'm not wrong, right? Yeah,
I
he
think you
uses
can.
module X. Yeah, he uses module X, unlike the rest who use module Y.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
because fundamentally when he released, there was two major issues. I think one of them being his bounces were a problem, but it's how the issue with Passenger was he has like a really good base kit, but he can't really make use of the kit if his damage is not that high.
Yeah, not only is not that high, but you kind of just have like 30 SP downtime, like on the very start. Like you have no initial SP.
Yeah, and that is an issue. Like a big, it does it's like a really good damage skill, but like for what it does, it's not really worth it. And with how its targeting works on the highest HP, it is not good at all.
Yeah.
But
Well, let's.
let's fundamentally talk about his second talent, Lone Soldier. When there are no operators in the four adjacent tiles, he gets a 10% attack boost. But with his module X, he actually gets a 0.25 SP boost within his talent. So if there's no enemies within the surrounding tiles, I think it is. You can notice it within his chibi in game. That something lights up with him. I don't know without the skin. I have the skin on, so I can't really remember how it looks without skin. But his little lamp turns on, and that means that his talent is activated.
Yeah, that's a pretty good. That's a very good gimmick. I like it.
And like the thing is, you have to hide Passenger somewhere, but that makes sense with how his attack range works with his skill. It is a big attack range. You can catch enemies from like almost 4 tiles. Oh,
Bless you.
yeah, and you can catch enemies like like really, like it's a diamond-shaped attack range. So yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, that sounds pretty.
Let us talk about the skill itself. We said it attacks the highest HP, but it lasts for 4 seconds, deals around 150 attack to random enemy within the area of effect for every 0.5 seconds. So he gets 8 hits within the 4 seconds, and it can store up to 2 charges. What
Yeah,
is
that's like
that is like what
16 hit.
no it's actually Iris, it's if you're proccing the skills both charges, yeah, it is 16 hits, but overall it only hits 8 times per skill.
That's kind of bummer a bit, but at least it's not that bad.
I mean, he still is getting used to this day. He's like an IS monster for what I know. If you get him the right
Yeah,
builds, he goes crazy.
yeah. I think the one of the hand gives SP,
Yeah, for every
or
hit.
for an I spot you got that one. Against all sarcasting.
Oh my god,
Just
that is a lot of damage.
oh yeah,
Yeah, but
the I
basically,
spot has a lot of.
as we said, he has no initial SP. He has no downtime. No, his downtime is in between charges. It is all it's auto recovery and it is manual, so you don't need to worry about it auto procking. Another issue is that again, as I said, it's 30 SP. His module does help him if you put him away somewhere that enemies can't reach him. He's basically gonna charge his skills a lot faster. So I think like it would take maybe 25 seconds, maybe to charge, maybe 26, just to charge his skill.
Yeah, that's a very pretty good one
I
with the
think it's
module X.
less. I think it's less, maybe 20. I do know how to math. I'm too lazy to math right now. But it's basically
Yeah,
less than 30. It is definitely less than 30. I just don't want to math right now. I just woke up like 2 hours ago.
uh, at least.
Yeah, but basically, yeah, I think there's not much you could talk about Passenger outside of, his him fundamentally, his archetype fundamentally changing Arcanines. And
Yeah,
he does, like, when we're going to show the video clips in the next moment, he is definitely the fastest one behind him being Acegene, and I think you can tell who's next.
yeah, the Lizy, definitely Lizy.
Yeah, and I think there's not much to talk about this archetype outside of what they do, and which we have already talked about every issue and every part of their kit. Yeah,
Yep.
and I think if you just see the gameplay clip yourself, we did use it against the Big Adam stage in the what chapter? What event story was that? I forgot its name. Was it the Granny Scouty one?
Yeah, that one. Yeah, it's like the first event, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, basically, yeah, we used that as our clip. Yeah, I don't
Well,
think there's what?
it ain't much, but it's an honest work.
It's honest work. Trust on the process. But outside of that, I don't think there's much you can talk about outside. We already talked about. We don't need to talk about stats because Arcanite stats is, as we said, it's like they're almost all similar to each other when they're the same archetype.
Yeah.
And
So
we talked about the traits of every operator and their module, as we said, the one module. Oh yeah, we didn't talk about the other module of the chaincasters, did we?
the passenger has module Y or
Oh, and Lysia as
passenger
well.
and
No, it's module X.
no.
Like we
We
talked
want
about.
to talk about it's module Y. Module Y is like pudding as Genie and also passenger.
Yeah.
Basically, it removes reduction.
Damage reduction. X adds the short slow.
Yeah,
And it does
slow.
10% less damage reduction, damage loss.
Yeah.
Each jump does.
Wow.
So you for the fourth enemy, I think we'll have like a 40% damage loss. That is still 20% less, but that's still huge.
Yeah, passenger can go around with both module. You can
I
use
think it's still
whatever.
preferable to use his first module because it helps with his skill cycling.
Yeah, the first one is cycling, while the second one is more like stable for stable
It
things.
does do with his equivalent, in my opinion, being the HP percentage one. But like then again, it's still a really gimmicky module. I still prefer module X over Y.
Mhm. Yes, that's pretty much about Chaincaster. They pretty much had you know a decent archetype. Nothing more to say or nothing less
To
to
talk
say.
about. Yeah, there's not much
Yeah,
to talk about them because they're fundamentally their issues got fixed when Hypergriff noticed their main issues.
yeah, they were really bad back then, and they learned a mistake mostly,
Yeah, I
and
think
then they make a module.
yeah,
Which module?
the module system really helped Arknight. I think it fundamentally helped so many different operators nowadays. It really like as we I think we would talk about like operators such as Executor Alter. He was one issue with he was definitely weird without module until his module came out. He got fixed big time. He was like a really mediocre operator. Now he's like a really good one and respected, which is actually good for
Yeah,
him.
and then there's the other one that doesn't get fixed by a module. I will get that too in the future.
Oh
You know
no.
who?
Oh no, no, please.
I'm gonna talk about that one character. Yeah,
This,
it
people are gonna ask to show some mercy for them.
I'm just gonna give them a hint. It's a caster again. Yeah.
Are we gonna
Well,
ever
well,
leave the casters alone?
well. To be fair, I will talk about the caster later. Yeah, I think you will take the lead next time. So, to sum up, Chaincaster is pretty much a decent archetype. You won't be having a bad time using it as long as you invest enough. Like get the module if you want to use them.
Yeah,
Don't
they
use them.
fundamentally, as we talked before, they definitely need their modules to fix their main issues, their core element of their issue of the archetype.
Uh, and for pudding, I would be using her. But if you really want a low rarity and if you want a better AoE caster, pudding would be a fine choice.
But again,
And
Assassagine
between
does
one,
exist. Assassagine does exist as a free operator, so I don't know. It really makes putting value invalidated because of Assassagine.
yeah, Asgene and between Asgene and Lizzie, I would actually prefer using Asgene because she would be much more easier to use.
And I think you can
And of
notice it
course,
by the gameplay clip. The fact that Assassagine definitely went way better than, and she didn't even need any support from any external sources, unlike Lizzie and Pudding.
yeah, like Lizzie really dropped the ball when someone just blocked her or damn downtime.
Yeah, that downtime is definitely her main issue. I mean, if she didn't have the downtime, I think she would be way better than Assassagine.
Yeah, so basically, without blocking, Lizzie is actually better because she had that damage increase and of course the SP,
Yeah, but then again,
and
80 SP is still not really fair. If it was 60 or 40 SP, I would have not minded. But the problem is it's 80, it's too much. And
yeah, but
I think our next player has learned that big SP cost is not worth it unless your name is Mostima. Then again, you do get away with most arguments though.
yeah, we will talk about Mostima and the other powerful was slower. I'll be talking about that one too.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a plan.
but that's for a
The
future
project.
date. We can't really say when it'll be out because we don't even know when we do things. We are at best doing things at random.
Yeah, for now, I'm gonna let Corey cook.
Oh my god. I think I'm just gonna give a hint. It is a Vanguard that I want to talk about. A really nice Vanguard at best.
A very good Vanguard. Possibly something like I don't know. You chose.
Yeah, I think you guys can assume. You can assume in the comments. And I would say again from the previous video, do share and like, give any feedback. We love to hear your feedback because at the first video, we did listen to your feedback. We were trying to improve with the video quality, and I think we did that with this video. So if anything else, you could let us know and give us any more suggestions. We will be more than happy to listen. We did take one suggestion from the previous video, and I think it's still in it's a currently on hold project. But outside of that, we will do it in the future. I think that's it for this video. We can all go back to what we were doing and have a good day.
Yeah, we hope that we get a better deadline than now because well, school, you know.
Oh my god, we just had I had like 2 weeks of final exams. That's why the last video was like a month ago. And then again, finding scheduling with Iris is not the easiest time, especially with their time zone.
Yeah, so while we're having a trouble with the schedule, I think we suggest if everybody gonna agree about doing some solo project, if can, if others unavailable, we can only do a short video like a small operator review, or
Instead of
maybe a short.
like when we do like the smaller operator reviews, like we're gonna just talk about one operator instead of the whole archetype because a whole archetype takes longer to produce. When you compare two operators, it takes time because you have to look at two different operators. You have to look at every fundamental issue.
Yeah, if that's okay, we can do that. But if not, then you choose. You choose.
You pick your poison. Anyway, I think this is it for this video, and I think we can both say that we had a good time on this one.
Yeah. Oh boy, we're gonna have a lot of script for next one.